everyone, and welcome to World Racing League Season 3 Round 1. We're in Abu Dhabi today, an unusual season opener, but this season is going to be a bit of an unusual calendar. Some stuff to go on, but the drivers, 8 drivers today, 13 confirmed on the grid so far this season, and I need to get the stream and send the stream to the drivers. But anyway, as I was saying, if I can get this working, technical difficulties in round 1 of the season is a great way to start up the season. What's off promo control V tier 1. We should be getting a 9th driver in a moment, hopefully. Anyway, so for those who aren't in the server, and actually let me invite this guy first so I don't forget. As I was saying, for those of you not in the Discord server for this season, or not in the Discord server at all, because if you're not in the Discord server for the last, if you're in it for last season but not this season, that wouldn't make sense. Anyways, this season is going to be a bit of a different one. So 12 rounds as per last season. The sprint races, we are going to have Silverstone as a sprint and Qatar as a sprint this season. So round 4 and round 10 are the sprints. We do have a reverse grid round this season. Now that does bring in a bit of a difference, as we used to do that for the sprint races, but doing that for round 1 or one of the rounds of the season, not round 1, because obviously how can you have a reverse championship round when you haven't had a race in the season? I've already made the first plunger of the season, but yeah, as I was saying, so 1 reverse championship round, 12 rounds this season. We will have a miniature break partway through the season, as we have the 2 Austrians, Caprovi and Shadow, both out on track. Different teams this season, so Shadow, obviously still Williams, Caprovi stepping into the Red Bull seat for the start of this season. We have Owen still at Mercedes, well, Mercedes team principal, didn't drive for Mercedes last season, but is at Mercedes this season. We have Winston jumping from Alpine over to Mercedes for the season. Gabriel leaving Mercedes and going to Aston Martin. Regan remains at Ferrari. Robert remains at McLaren, and Chenky remains at Ferrari. Ferrari looking very strong this season. Ferrari and Mercedes only teams have 2 drivers shown to round 1 so far, or to the first round of the season. So they could both get a good leap at the start of this season. No Rico having a seat so far this season is an interesting one, as I'm sure a lot of people would have thought end of the last season Rico would have had everyone wanting to sign him, but not. Could be getting a few more, which hopefully it doesn't go as bad as it did last time we did this. But Shadow is on a lap. Kev Provi actually passing him. So, Kevprovi on a good lap. Shadow perhaps not having the greatest of laps so far, but as I was going to say, this season's going to have a few different changes. We are going to be having post-race interviews this season starting today. The drivers were wanting it, and the drivers will get it. An astonishing 8-0 in the votes for whether or not we have it. So, that very much something the drivers were wanting this season. And, well, obviously, as I've mentioned, no Rico being signed. Studbody, the co-owner of the league, stepping into the commentary box with me this season. Not here tonight, unfortunately, but is here for the season. What else is it? We will have Kyle joining us during the season as well. Hopefully next week he thinks he'll be able to show to, so that will be a good start if we can get him. Kev Provi with the 1 minute 25.157. The banker lap in qualifying. Chenky 1 minute 23.507 goes fastest. Shadow 136.191. So he did have something go wrong on that lap. Gabriel will be next to the line, rounding the final corner. And he was a 1 minute 23.632, only a 10th off Chenky. So Chenky, who I would say is my favourite for the championship, only a 10th faster than Gabriel on his first lap of qualifying, but all could change. Regan to the line, 1 minute 24.370, puts him into third. Rob will be next to the line, invalidated however. Owen will be next to the line, and he moves himself into third place with a 1 minute 24.360, only 100th of a second faster than Regan in the Ferrari. 3 team principals on the track today, something which we haven't had happen since I think season 1 here. Winston's on an out lap. Whether Rob is on a push lap or not is yet to be seen, but it looks like he might be if he has the fuel, and it looks like he has the battery. So let's see what Rob can do as Winston starting his push lap in qualifying. And we'll see if we get other drivers joining. Hello Kyle. Yeah, quick one Kyle, I did send the dates into the staff chat for the season, and I'm actually going to read them out now, because might as well read them out for the people who want to know. So obviously today, the 1st of November, round 1 of the season in Abu Dhabi. Let me get the calendar up at the same time so I can go through this easier. If I can find that calendar. So round 2 in Austria will be next Saturday, 8th of November. Then Mexico, round 3 on the 15th of November. 22nd of November we'll have Silverstone sprint race for round 4. 29th of November we'll have round 5 in Spain as Rob moves to P3 with a 1 minute 24.217. Winston next, purple sector 2 apparently according to the game. Where Spain, I think I said, was the 29th. Then the 6th of December will be Japan round 6. 13th of December will be Hungary. 20th of December will be Netherlands. That brings up to round 8 of the season as with Winston rounding the final corner. Invalidating in the final corner, and it was a 1 minute 24.212, which would have put him up into third place. Unfortunate for the Irish driver. Anyways, 27th of December we will have a off week for Christmas. 1 week this season for Christmas, as it falls nicely to have 1 week off. Then back racing on the 3rd of January in Singapore. 10th of January will be the sprint race in Qatar for round 10 of the season. Round 11 will be a mystery race held on the 17th of January, and then we'll round the season off on the 24th of January in Australia. How F1 used to finish their seasons off. It'll be an interesting one to see how that goes, switching over Abu Dhabi and Australia for this season. Obviously Winston invalidating in the final corner the last lap means that this lap is invalid as well, so whether or not he comes into the pits or whether he decides to go for another one, it depends how much fuel he has. Less than 10 minutes left of this session now today. 8 drivers here, 2 Ferraris 1st and 5th currently, the Mercedes 4th and 8th currently, Gabriel on Aston Martin return, sitting in second, as we will now get the gap between the drivers. So Andrea Chenkovan leads, or Chenky as he is known here. Gabriel with just over a tenth and a quarter on the dot behind him. Then 7/10 off Chenky is Robert, 8.5 tenths is Owen, 8.5 tenths as well as Regan. Then there's 1.6 off for Kaprovi, as we have a Red Bull in. Interesting. I'm not actually sure who this Red Bull is, but we have a Red Bull in. I'll work that out afterwards, who that actually is, because I am having a bit of a brain malfunction here on this one. Winston is going for another one, so he does have the fuel, but then soft tyres are going to be screaming for help after this. I'm actually going to try to work out who this Kay Catterson is. We'll work out eventually. But Winston, 1 minute 24.453 up into 6th place. And now it just... Shadow retires from the session. Interesting from the Williams. And it looks like he's hit the wall actually, with the position of where it is. Okay, guys, have worked out who that is. A very clean driver, as we have had vouched by someone who is relatively clean themselves from here. So that is all good. As Fantasy, the man who I was just mentioning vouching in the McLaren. So Red Bull have 2 drivers saying, so do McLaren. So very good for us today to have a few good drivers. So K-Cat's invalidating, 6 minutes left to qualifying now. As trying to work out who's on laps. Regan up into 3rd whilst we're trying to work this out. 3 thousandths over Owen, so them two going toe to toe so far this season. As Chenky 1 minute 23.086 extending his lead of Gabriel at the top of qualifying. Rob in P5 currently. Can he find any more time? As Rob is pushing it through that 2nd sector, can he find time in the 3rd sector? Could he cause an upset and take pole off Chenky? That will be a talking point, certainly. As rounding, oh, he invalidates in the final sector. That's unfortunate. So Winston on an outlap currently has... We'll get Regan back in as he got disconnected. So Winston on a push lap now. We're in the dying moments of qualifying. It's only a few minutes left of qualifying. Just trying to get everything sorted with people training. So Winston 1 minute 24.4 missed what he was up or down in the first sector. It's just trying to keep an eye on everything that's going on. Not easy when you're alone, but it's doable. As Winston P6 currently down the back straight now, if you can call it a straight, with a massive curve throughout it, but into the final sector, almost 2/10 down. So Winston's going to have to find time in this final sector if he wants to improve on his position. 2 drivers behind, yet to set time. Shadow could very well be signed from the back with a 1 minute 34.998. The big question is, what can he do? Rounding the final corner, will he find time? Will he lose time? He finds half a second, that moves him up into third. So it's 1 minute 23.936 with 2.5 minutes left of qualifying now. Next to cross the line, Fantasy, no it wasn't Fantasy, Rob starting a lap, but no, Rob finishing a lap, 6th place for Rob. Next will be Kev Provi, 3/10 up as it is. That's not going to be enough to jump any positions. He needs at least 7/10 on this lap. He's going to have to find 4 to 5/10 through this final sector. Rounding the final corner to the line, Kev Provi doesn't improve his position, improves his time by half a second, but not his position. His Fantasy has invalidated his lap. Whether he gets another lap in or not is to be seen. Kay Catterton, who I've just found out is called Kyle, so not as confusing as thought it was going to be. At least it's a name easy to pronounce. Kyle to the line. Second is a 1 minute 23.1, only a 10th, less than 10th, half a 10th of Andrea Janky. Margins in this qualifying session as it is. Rob next. What can he do? As Rob up into 4th, through almost 4/10 gain, up ahead of Winston. As talking about Mercedes, Owen to the line, starting his lap now. Behind him is teammate Winston into the pits. So that's Winston's qualifying over Caprovi. 3 seconds down, that looks like his qualifying over as well now. Behind him, there is Fantasy. Is he on a lap? I'm not sure if he's on a lap or not. There's a chance he might be on a lap. We'll find out in a moment. As he does round the final corner. And to the line. Moves up into 9th with a 1 minute 27.828. Gabriel just in time to start a lap before the end of qualifying. Kyle into the pits now. And so Ferrari's behind Winston. Oh, Regan has invalidated, so Regan will start from best of 6th in this session. Behind the Mercedes. Owen, can he find any time in this session? He looks to be the last driver on a push lap apart from Gabriel. He will come round the final corner and push it to the line. Can he move up positions? He does. He moves up into 4th place, knocking his teammate down at 6th. It's 1 minute 23.744 for the Mercedes. All eyes on Gabriel. Actually, no, Caprovi is out on track as well. Gabriel 7,000ths down. Is Keprovi on a push lap? I don't think he is. We'll watch on board with Gabriel as Keprovi is, and he pulls into the side. And now all eyes on Gabriel. Can he take pole? He needs 6/10 in this final sector. 7 thousandths down going into the final sector. Can he find 6/10 to take pole? Can he find 5/10 to take second? And around the final corner to the line, Gabriel can only find a 10th. And that is qualifying over. So Chenky takes pole, Kyle in second, Gabriel third, Owen fourth, Rob fifth, Winston sixth with Regan in seventh, Keprovi eighth, Fantasy in ninth, and Shadow will start from 10th on the grid. So we're about to go racing in Abu Dhabi for round 1 of the season. Chenky and Kyle, Ferrari and Red Bull on the front row. Who will get the better start? As Regan looks to have a very good start in behind everyone, but it looks like Chenky has the start over the Red Bull at the start. Gabriel in third, Owen holds fourth, Winston holds fifth, Shadow and Fantasy battling it out down from 9th and 10th, Keprovi in 8th. And it looks like everyone has got through the first few corners cleanly. And it looks like we've got a race on our hands here as Shadow makes it past Fantasy. Fantasy makes it back past Regan and Keprovi, also battling wheel to wheel, going into sector 2. And it's a good start to the race, a clean start to the race like we want to see. As Chunky catching a bit of curb as Shadow is round. And now what has happened to Shadow? It looked like there was a bit of debris on track, but couldn't see whose car it's from. Now whether Shadow has gone for a lunge in on Fantasy through that corner, we're unsure, but we have low control of batteries as Regan goes wide, and we'll quickly change batteries as we'll look up at the front to watch how this battle continues for the lead of this race, as Kyle has made it past Chenky at the front. Regan into the pits at the end of lap 1. Interesting. So Regan into the pits, end of lap 1 for the hard tyres, and we'll actually have a look at what tyres everyone is on. Everyone on the mediums, where Regan going to the hards early on. So Regan on the hards, quite far back now. Shadow on, well now is a recovery drive. The two Mercedes going wheel to wheel, and that's just costing them time to Rob up ahead. Winston now ahead of Owen. And whatever is going on in Mercedes, it doesn't look to be paying off, as it looks like Owen actually has a bit of front wing damage. We'll try to get a proper look, as Winston has an end plate missing. But I think Owen does as well. Owen also has an end plate missing, by the looks of it. So both of the Mercedes missing their front right end plate, so something is going on at Mercedes in this first round of the season. Owen dives into the pits. Kyle going fastest lap, then Rob taking fastest lap. Rob showing good pace. These top four all showing good pace here, actually. As Winston is now coming under pressure from Fantasy behind. Fantasy having a very good start to this race. Finding places up the grid. Kevprovi into the pits. He's had something happen. And drama happening all over the grid at the start of this Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. And now Regan, he will jump Kevprovi going on to the softs unusually. And whether Regan will jump Owen or not is going to be close at the pit exit. But Owen just exits ahead of Regan. And now Chenky back up into the lead of this race. With Kyle on the outside, and these two are going to go wheel to wheel. These two are going to put up a good fight for the chasing pack to keep up with throughout this race. Red Bull v Ferrari. What a story this could be to the season if this stays up or if this keeps up all season long. Gabriel in behind them, and then Rob in behind him, just staying with them, letting them pull them along, waiting for one of them to make a mistake. To look like Chenky did make that small mistake there. As Fantasy has lost it behind, and he's in the wall. And Fantasy, not sure what happened there. He was racing with Winston. Whether Winston's wing damage caused something to happen to Fantasy, but Fantasy now without a front wing, lucky to still be in this race, is into the pits early on. So far, someone pitting every lap of this race. Interesting way to start the season. Possibly spoke too soon about it being a clean start to the season, but what comes out after the race will come out after the race. It'll be interesting to see what happens. As Fantasy now dropping down into P9 as exiting the pits, he will come out ahead of Kevprovi, who is on the softs. And these front four, especially the top two, showing how racing is meant to be done. And what an interesting season this can be. As I've said multiple times, Kyle coming last minutes of qualifying and showing Chenky what he is made of. Kevprovi with a 3-second time penalty. But Kyle leading the race, sharing the name with one of our co-commentators. Kyle leading out at the front. His DRS train in behind him. Gabriel and Rob started to look like they're just backing off a little bit as Chenky had a little look going into the chicane, then decided against it. Smart driving from the Croatian. As further back, Regan and Owen still just not really any change in the two of them as this race has progressed. The gap staying the same. As Winston, he's trying with this wing damage that he has, albeit only an end play, but still has a dramatic effect at times to the cars, especially tyre wear. I personally haven't raced this track this game yet, so I'm not sure what the wear on this track is like but he will be feeling it on the front right. But he's doing a good job to just try to stay in that gap where if something happens to those ahead of him, he's able to react and find places. But whether or not that damage will cost him places by the end of the race, we will have to find out. Shadow's still in this race in some ways, because I mean, he's somewhat closing the gap to Winston, but also not at the same time as Chenky looks for the move down into the chicane on Kyle and makes the move cleanly. Rob had a little look on Gabriel in behind there, but then decided against it, and now Kyle has a very good exit of the chicane and he's back up ahead of Chenky with the DRS. Chenky tucking in behind him for the toe, and now into the long hairpin-esque corner, almost, not quite a hairpin, it's too flowing for a hairpin. But these two keeping each other on their toes throughout this race. And this is where we just need the likes of Rico and Steven from last season to be here to make it an even more interesting fight. Gabriel, however, very impressive with the pace he's showing here today, and as well for Robert. Both of them being all fighting for podium places is very good. Kyle, it's going to be weird saying my own name in commentary. It is, Kyle. It's going to be weird saying your own name in commentary throughout this season. And now will Chenky look for it? I don't think he will, as there's a Williams going slow and something's just trying to whether he's dipped his tyres in the gravel or not. The yellow flag in the area of the track he was. And he's dropped back about 4 seconds there from Winston. But we'll go back to the front where Chenky is chasing down Kyle. And now they have broken the DRS to Gabriel. And it was gonna happen at some point, and it looks like it's happened now. Whether Gabriel can claw it back before the next DRS zone, which is all the way around in Sector 2 of Lap 8. And Gabriel trying to claw back that gap, but just not looking like he can fully. It'll be interesting to see how this race progresses. I mean, as it stands right now, it's between Kyle or Chenky to win the race, and it depends who pulls the trigger at what point in the race to go for it. And it depends if either of them are just holding back from what they could be doing. I mean, I have seen Chenky race. I've raced with Chenky many a time now, and I know what he can do on the track. Kyle, very much going in blind commentating on him tonight. Never seen him race before. Hopefully he can do something surprising. I mean, he's out here battling my favourite from the championship, and I'm sure a lot of people's favourite after seeing the performances last season from him and some of the big names not being here. Obviously I'm very much talking up Chenky right now, but off the grid, which we have, and the drivers we have on the grid full time, he is one of the favourites. So Chenky just going out on the curb, crossing the white line. Whether that's a warning or not is to be seen. I mean, Chenky is one of the best drivers at keeping it clean and not getting track limit penalties. Imola last season, if my recollection serves me right, he was the only one not to be penalised for track limits there. So could this race come down to a track limit penalty? It's always possible that that could happen. Many a race in F1 League racing has been decided because of penalties. As Gabriel really starting to struggle to keep up with the top two now. It looks as if Gabriel and Robert are going to be in their own battle for P3. And anything can happen, but it does look as if they are dropping out of the battling range as further back have Provi is within battling range of Fantasy now. And it'll be interesting to see what Fantasy can do. Got him in. Oh, Kaprovi just losing the rear of the car on the exit off the corner. That's Kaprovi into the pit. And I was thinking the softs were the wrong call, and they are. Lap 9 and he's into the pits. Only 5 laps done on the softs. Well, 6 laps done on the softs, sorry. And his medium's going on. Surprising me to not take the hard tyres on. But each to their own, I guess. As one Red Bull's in the pits, the other Red Bull's having a very much different turn of events this race. Out in the lead of this Grand Prix. I mean, Owen now jumping Shadow. Shadow is in the pits now, so Owen and Regan both jump in Shadow. Whether or not Shadow going medium to medium, so Shadow is on a 2-stop at this race. Interesting, 10 laps in. Well, end of lap 9 he pits, and yeah, 2-stop strategy. Very interesting. As Gabriel and Rob have both been in as well. I missed that. Gabriel in for the hards, Rob in for the mediums. Rob going to the inside, and there was almost a bit of contact there between them. But Rob up into P4. Winston now up into P3 with everyone pitting. As Rob and Gabriel will take a wheel-to-wheel down this straight. As Gabriel gets back up ahead of Rob into P4. And now we have Kyle and Chenky out in the lead. Neither of them making the choice to dart in. Will Winston make the decision to dart in? And when he does, will he get that front wing damage repaired? That's the big question on everyone's lips here. As it stands, everyone's very much intrigued to know if he's going to repair the damage. I mean, he's sitting nicely in sort of provisional P5 at the end of this race, so I don't see why he should get repaired when he does pit. Take the tyres as long as they can go in the mediums, go for hards and go to the end, is what I would do in his position. It's Kyle and Chenky out in the lead of this race still. A little bit of a lock-up from Kyle there, but not costing him too much. Kyle still leads Chenky. These two really starting to show us how to race hard and race well. That's something which I very much like to see. As we have had confirmation that Kyle, the commentator, said he is going to definitely be available next week for commentary, so exciting news there. Whether or not Owen will be with us next week, not 100% on that one, so as Kyle is in the pit, and so is Chenky, and that front right of Kyle's looked absolutely eaten up, and the hard's going on to both of their cars. Gabriel has a 3-second penalty, but Rob is going to have to make another stop. So if Gabriel can take it to the end of the race, he's in a very good position. And now where will they come out in comparison to Kyle and Chenky? It's going to be close. Owen gets a penalty, but Gabriel now in the lead of the race. So the undercut has worked wonders. They're about 3 seconds behind. They pitted about 3 laps earlier. And now Gabriel out in the lead, but he now has the job of holding 3 drivers, 2 of which on fresher tyres, 1 of which on faster tyres behind, as Rob will have to look into the chicane, gets up ahead, and Rob now leads as... Am I right in thinking Gabriel has end plate damage? Gabriel does have end plate damage on the front right end plate. Owen making it up past his teammate Winston now. Winston dropping down into 6th, and his fellow Irishman Regan on his tail chasing him down. Now Gabriel back up into the lead of this race with Rob in behind. And these top 4, they can keep it clean for the rest of the race. Winston picking up a 3-second time penalty, but these top 4, if they can keep it clean for the rest of the race, it'll be a very good race, albeit Rob having to pit again. Let's see what we can be brought here. The Gabriel with the 3-second penalty could cost him, especially with 2 very good, very fast drivers in behind him. Whether or not Kyle or Chenky tries to take the position from Rob is to be seen, as Kyle is going to move to the outside, and he's just going to be held up. He boxed himself in there by going to the outside of Rob, but will he get the move around the outside of Gabriel through the second part of the chicane? It does. Looks like he does, and he does. Well, Gabriel being forced to the outside will let Chenky get a run down the inside. Kyle moving to the outside. Chenky's going to get a run right down the inside. Kyle moving round the outside of Rob and back into the lead of this race. And now Chenky making it down the inside, making it muck. Great racing at the front right here. It is very much great racing at the front. And they're all showing how to race cleanly and competitively, which is what we love to see. So Kyle and Chenky both making it past Rob and Gabriel. Gabriel looked to just drop off a little bit from Rob, and Rob already out of DRS on top 2. And wow, that is very good work and very efficient work from Kyle and Chenky to get past and break the DRS in half a lap. Very, very efficient work from the 2 of them. And now Chenky taking the lead of the race, Gabriel taking 3rd place. So we know Gabriel and Rob are going to be in a bit of a battle here for the final step of the podium. Winston has dropped his teammate Owen quite significantly. And Winston, obviously on much fresher tyres, and Winston did not pit for the new front wing. As Gabriel and Rob are going to hold it wheel to wheel through there. Rob gets the position. And now Rob up into 3rd place of this Grand Prix. Chenky with a new fastest lap of the race so far. And I mean, I said that he was going to be the pace setter for the season, and it does look like he is living up to that so far. Behind Rob and Gabriel, still going wheel to wheel everywhere they can on track. And Owen into the pits again, onto the hards again, and he will be going to the end of the race, you'd expect, at this point of the Grand Prix. So, Chenky and Kyle still leading, still showing what the pace of this season could very well be, and it's a purple sector 1 from Kyle. Behind Rob and Gabriel, still battling, and Rob gonna have to pit again. When does he pit, and what tyres does he pit for? They're two big questions to be asked. As Gabriel is going down for the inside, and he backs out off the move, as up ahead Kyle did make the move past Chenky. Kevprovi now with a 3-second penalty. When I seen the K to start with, I thought that was Kyle getting the penalty. Chenky will send it round the outside and take home first place again, but Kyle is going to hold a wheel to wheel through this section, and who backs out? Kyle ends up backing out, but he put Chenky on a very awkward line to take through this section, with Chenky keeping P1 as it stands. But amazing racing from the two of them. And behind, Gabriel and Rob still battling it out for third place. But when does Rob pit? Big questions to be answered in this race. As Rob defending the outside, Gabriel to the inside. Does Gabriel get the move? He's going to try to make the move, and he does make the move, but Rob is going to have DRS. And Rob, DRS open. Now to chase Gabriel down. Gabriel is holding that inside, now pushing Rob to the outside. Rob switches to the inside though. Who will be able to hold it? Gabriel trying to hold it round the outside. As up ahead, Kyle and Chenky have now lapped Fantasy, who's sitting down in 10th place after recently pitting, but Kevprovi in the pits again. As Rob with a 3-second penalty now in the pits. Well, a 3-second penalty on his way into the pits, not getting a 3-second penalty in the pits, as you can't get a 3-second penalty in the pits. You can only get 10-second penalties in the pits. And onto the hard tyres for the last 10 laps of this race. So Winston up into 4th. And now, if Winston has the pace to keep going, he could take 4th and Rob 5th. Has Rob made a blunder on his strategy? Kyle now looking to go down the inside of Chenky, backs out. Kevprovi now being lapped as well. Kevprovi being behind them, looks like he might get backed up into Fantasy. And now if Fantasy can keep this going, he'll do well. Kyle around the outside. Shadow now exiting the pit lane, down in 8th place, but he is comfortably ahead of fellow Austrian and fellow countryman Kevprovi. Well, this is now where the racing's at. The battle for the win. 10 racing laps remain. Kyle and Chenky. And Kevprovi is just behind, as actually Gabriel is back in the pit, and there's a new front wing going on his car. And now there's Winston onto the podium. Gabriel will exit the pit, but will he make it out ahead of Rob, or will Rob make the jump on him? I think Rob has made the jump on Gabriel. It's a very tricky pit lane to exit, I have to say. I've had a few incidents in there before, including back in the original league, which WeRL came from SFCR, ends up crashing on my debut in qualifying and in the race, exiting the pits and DNF'd from that race. Very unfortunate timing back then. But Gabriel coming in for the new front wing has dropped him now 5.6 behind Rob, but on a lap fresher and a compound faster set of tyres. Kyle is now just starting to stretch the gap on Chenky, and Chenky is going to have to be on it if he wants to stay in with a chance of winning. 7/10 now, the gap, almost 8/10. And Kyle is having very good exits over Chenky. Chenky's starting to struggle whether or not he's pushed the tyres to the limit, or if he's on 2 warnings and just trying to take it easy now. I mean, there's an 18-second gap out of the lead, but anything can happen. Kyle does look to have, just by looking at it with the naked eye, does look to have the better tyre wear at this stage of the race. And Fantasy just struggling to keep up with Kevprovi now. Bit of a lock up there from Kyle, but not costing him that much to Chenky. I actually agree, Kyle, with having a bridge over the top. And now, Kyle, 1.4, 1.3, 1.4, something like that, out ahead of Chenky now. This is his race to lose now. What I thought would have been a walkover race for Chenky ended up in a 4-way battle for the podium for the first stint. Then, once pits had happened, Gabriel and Rob bit first by coming in. Ended up jumping Kyle and Chenky. Not for long though. And now Kyle opening the gap on Chenky with 8 racing laps to go. Or 7 and a bit racing laps to go now. Winston having an unexpected race to be up on the podium as it stands. I mean, Rob doing the 2-stop. Gabriel unexpectedly doing the 2-stop. But Gabriel 1:26.337, new fastest lap of the race. And he is very much pushing to close the gap to Rob up ahead. And this race is at the stage where anything can happen now. It's after the top 4. anything can really happen. I mean, the top 5, sorry, has had a very much helter-skelter race. After that, it's been a mixed bag of emotions. So, I mean, Owen, Regan, Shadow, Kefravi and Fantasy all having to make unwanted pit stops throughout this race, if the truth is to be told for them. But, as I've said many times so far, anything can happen in this race, and it's yet to be seen the true extent to what can happen. But Kyle is opening that gap up more and more as the laps go on. Now it's almost 3 seconds the gap out the front, and for someone who came in last minute, unexpected how they would do, he's showing what he can do, and if it's to be said, he's doing a good job at it. Kefravi has unlapped himself from Chenky now, but I would expect Chenky will be relapping himself soon. Kefravi is in 9th, a nice 27 points for the Ferrari, or for the Red Bull Alpha, sorry. Ferrari getting, obviously, the pole position point from Chenky. Fastest lap points, sorry. Currently going to Gabriel for Aston Martin, so Aston Martin taking 11 points from today will be more than they expected coming into the Grand Prix, and I'm sure they'll be happy with it. Williams only picking up 2 points. So Ryan, who has made the jump to Williams, not here today. So we will actually pull up the list of drivers whilst there's no battles on track, just to go through some of the changes which has happened throughout this season in the driver window. So obviously Winston and Owen at Mercedes, Winston moving from Alpine over to Mercedes. Angry Inc and Robert remain at McLaren. Obviously Gabriel moving to Aston Martin and Joe moving from a reserve to Aston Martin. Shadow remaining at Williams and Orion moving to Williams from Red Bull. Entok remains at Red Bull. Then Kevprovi is in the Red Bull seat for the first part of the season, but KZ Matti, a name which hasn't been mentioned since Season 1, the Season 1 F1 23 champion, once he's able to get F1 25, he will be stepping into the Red Bull seat. It'll be interesting to see what he can do there. Regan and Chenky remain in the Ferrari Tasna, name which hasn't been mentioned much, well, apart from the second half of last season. In the Haas seat this season, Mo is in the reserve roles for this season, and Alexis, who showed to a couple of races last season, is also taking up a reserve role for this season. And obviously, along with the F1, we also have the EAWRC division. Kev probably picking up a 3-second penalty. More on that later. But we obviously have the WRC season and championship, which isn't mentioned often during the F1 races, but whilst we don't have too much battling on track, as I say that, Regan is within half a second of Owen now on fresher, faster rubber, and now will Owen lose P6 to the Ferrari? Can Ferrari pull off a few more points and try to, or whether the word to use is take the lead on the championship or reduce the lead of the Red Bull will have lead even this week, is to be seen. But Regan doing what he can do here to try to get Owen. As Fantasy just not having a great race today, down in 10th place. But everyone has races which don't go their way, and it looks to be his today. But going back to what I was trying to get on to saying there, the WRC season starts tomorrow. Very interesting to see how that goes this season. PLH raced in F1 the last 2 seasons, not in this season, but he will be looking to go for a 3rd title in a row, but couple of big competitions coming in to fight him this season. Group B rear wheel drive is the cars which will be taken this season. Round 1 starts tomorrow, 8 stages per round. Sweden will start the season off where we see Hoffinskoff, Storjangen, Sunne, Lofstoholm, Aslia, Spickbrunner, Exrad and Asnes all being raced on. Round 2 the week later will be Chile, where we have Bio Bio, Carrera, Rio Claro, Chivilingo, Laja, Maria Las Cruces, Umbrel and Bulgaria being raced on. Then we have Croatia for round 3. I know that we have Chenki here today, the Croatian, so I mean I apologise now for butchering any pronunciations at all. But Croatia we have Bilčnik, Stostraga, Kostanjevac, Petrosvir, Grudanci, Zagorska Sela, Rotje and Trakoskan. Then round 4 Central Europe we have Ruska, Rusava, Prikazi, Brusna, Provodovice, Rostoka, Vitova and Lukovecek. After that we are in Oceania for round 5, where we have Oakley, Mararetu, Noakes Hill, Makarao, Waywara, Mangapai, Tafu, Tapuha and Doctor's Hill. That was an easy one. Estonia for round 6 we have Otepa, Visi, Kwaseme, Elva, Truta, Metzelan, Nupil and Rabast. Italy for round 7 we have Reina Mahor, Lipinenti, Montemurri, Samela, Multi, Ala del Sardi, Liticetta and Monteolia. Then we end the season in Japan for round 8, where we have Shadow has made it past Regan whilst we've been going through this, sorry. So Shadow getting some good points for Williams. This is a battle for P6 now between the 3 of them. But round 8 we have Lake Mikawa, Habudam, Higashino, Nakatsugawa, Nenu Plateau, Okuwacho, Habucho and Kudarisawa to end this WRC season. So yeah, this, I mean, WRC season could happen anyway. But penalties in this race, so Kyle and Chenki both go in penalty list so far as they're about to enter the final lap. Then Winston, Rob, Gabriel, Owen, Shadow all in 3 seconds. Regan with no penalty, so Regan, if he can keep it right, can get P6 here. Kaprovi with 9 seconds of penalties, and Fantasy also with no penalties. Yeah, we'll keep this tab open for the rest of this race as it is. Has Kyle disconnected because his car is ghosted? There's a chance he might have there. Not sure what's exactly happened there. Have I disconnected? Oh no, Kyle's out miles ahead, sorry. It was Kaprovi who was battling with Chenkia, as Kaprovi picks up another 3 second penalty. Sorry, I had a massive brain fog there from reading the WRC calendar, but Kyle, an amazing debut race in Abu Dhabi today for round 1 of the season. Hopefully he can become a permanent fixture on this season's calendar. Showed true race winners drive today. Penaltyless, started second, and he's coming home to take the checkered flag in Abu Dhabi. Kyle wins the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Chenki will come home to take second place in the Grand Prix. Keprovi will finish in 9th. And now we have Winston and Rob who are going to battle it down to the line here. Can Rob find one last chance of getting the move? Will he go for a bit of a lunge? Winston rounding the final corner now. And to the line, Winston takes home 3rd. Rob finishes 4th, so Winston picks up a podium for the Mercedes team. Gabriel finishes 5th. And now, let's see what can happen here. There's Owen, Shadow and Regan, all very close to each other. Owen rounding the final corner to provisionally take 6th. Shadow will provisionally take 7th. Regan will provisionally take 8th. Fantasy finished in 10th. So we'll get the final results in a moment's time. So, fastest lap to Gabriel, driver of the day to Winston, most overtakes to Owen, and race winner to Kyle. So Kyle wins today, Chenki in 2nd, Winston 3rd, Rob 4th, then Gabriel will finish 5th, Regan 6th, Owen 7th, Shadow 8th, Keprovi in 9th, and Fantasy in 10th. So, Gabriel will get P5 as he did cross the line, and it is just something that happens in game. We will be back in a few moments' time for post-race interviews once I switch over to my laptop. We will see you soon in a couple of minutes. Thank you for watching the race, and if you want to tune in for the post-race interviews, see you soon.